2. What's up? What's up, folks? Welcome. How are you feeling? Feeling pretty bad. I heard a Pokemon go to the polls. There we go, Eric. Very nice. Cough on Justice Alito. Justice Alito, sir, I'm your biggest fan. Ugh. Take a selfie with me. Hello, everyone. Voting right now as I watch the intro. That's very good. Very nice. Very nice, folks. Yeah, so, I was not sure that I could do the stream today. I was literally like, you know, it was like it was like 12:20, and I was just sitting here. I took a shower. I was just sitting here at the computer. I was seeing all the GIFs being posted in the Discord server. The Judge Judy touching her watch and all the different Rob's late gifts. Just watching them come in, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I considered canceling. I literally popped in because I saw the Steely Dan shirt in the thumbnail. Thank you, River and Ravens. Our nagging saved the stream. That's right, you did. It literally did. I was like, I can't let these folks down. I can't let these people down. These are my people. They're counting on me. They're counting on me to talk them through all this. I gotta set my own personal feelings aside. I'm gonna set my own personal well-being aside. This community needs me, and you know what? America needs me. Let's tell it like it is. This community needs me, and America needs me. Now more than ever. Yeah, no, you know what? Like, I did consider taking the day off, and I'm still not sure that I can sit here for the next 3-4 hours and talk. It's probably a good idea to try and, like, talk less. So I just thought I would, rather than just canceling arbitrarily, I would go on, we could say hello, and I don't hear from a man today anyway. Good. Good. And you shouldn't. And you should not. You can just watch deep dive VODs. Okay, there we go. There we go. Sounds like a good idea. Am I hearing Kwame Day? I mean, it could be. It could be also Gaming Day. It could be Gaming Day as well. Because I felt like if I was going to not do the stream, I would probably end up gaming. And then I would probably want to stream the game that I was doing. Here are all greetings from my stream. Hey Jane, what's up? What are you doing today? Scary was killing it in Twitter Spaces today. I never really venture into those. I never venture into those Twitter Spaces. What's the name of this song? I mean, it's just the theme for this show. The official name is Night City Surveillance. This one I'm playing right now just is TRRS theme though. The Rob Rousseau song. That's right. That's what it is. I said one thing and left, and I still got too many followers. The clout keeps catching up with me. You can't get away from it. You can't get away from it. The people demand more Red Scary content. This is what the people are demanding. Okay, the people around the world. I think you have Havana syndrome. Do you need some additional healthcare? Should I get Christian Freeland on this? Well, now I'm wondering if because like I said,
you're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I took a COVID test. I've also heard though that this new variant, the latest variant, you need more like inside the cheek swabs, and I've been doing in the nose. So maybe I do have COVID after all. Took a COVID test and turns out he's 100% that bitch. Thank you very much for the gifted sub, Red Scary. Thank you.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
What's this now? Jameson, thank you very much for the 15 months of tier 1. Thank you, kind sir. I think this is really the main takeaway. There's been a lot of different takes, a lot of different folks weighing in on certain events. I think this is the main thing we want to take a look at, though, today. I think this really kind of sums up where we're at. Let's see here.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
I think this is kind of the main takeaway. Oh my goodness, James, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Look at that. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs, James Ed Smith. Really appreciate it, James. Thank you. Yeah. In fact, let's just get right into this discussion. I don't feel like doing chit chat. Nancy Pelosi is fighting tooth and nail to defend Roe v. Wade, and you're gaming. It really was, and I'm almost like, I don't know if Sinchal is in the chat. Valued community member Sinchal. Pull up the Met Gala fit, we can do that. Well, the conspiracy theory that Sinchal was outlining in the Discord server, where this dropped literally at the moment while Hillary Clinton was at being photographed at the Met Gala. I mean, it's just, it is kind of perfect in a way, but it's almost too perfect. Gaming and mansplaining to her and Hillary about how this is their fault and not yours for voting more. Sinchal is one of the most pilled community members in this community. But I was like, that's making a lot of sense to me. She can't fail, she can only be failed. I mean, that's the whole thing about the Democratic Party, right? It's amazing now, when anything bad happens, and you can now predict where the discourse is going to go right away. And it's like, it seems like it's happening in lesser, you go through the different angles of the discourse, like quicker and quicker. How there's this like intrinsic reflexive urge on the part of people who have wrapped up their whole identity with the Democratic Party to immediately in these moments blame the people in like American society that have the least amount of power and be like, this is you did this. There's that thread today, you did this. Do you know if you saw that? Just holding up the most random assortment of anyone that's expressed anyone that's anything resembling like a left-wing viewpoint or who has criticized the Democratic Party. That big thread, it's like, you did this. And it just really sums up this ethos, right? It's like, it's not just about Hillary, how she can't be failed, or she can't fail, she can only be failed. It's the whole Democratic Party. And you have this person online, you know, many people like this, who have their whole identities tied up in this political party. And just immediately, anytime anything bad happens, especially with the Supreme Court, shielding the most powerful people.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Shielding the most powerful people from accountability and deflecting like anyone trying to cast blame on the people in American society, the powerful political figures.
I have no choice but to stand.
My goodness, Barkeater, thank you for the Patreon sub. I never know now with these Patreon subs whether it's someone literally choosing to give less money or not. But thank you, and thank you also Karma and Social Distancing for the 2 gifted subs. Thank you. Yeah, it's amazing though, this reflexive need to defend just the most powerful people. The most powerful people who have the ability, literally have the ability to make laws. And anytime now anything bad happens, there's these people there's their first instinct is to shield these incredibly powerful people from any accountability. You know, it's kind of sad. It's sad and it's extremely weird. The only thing about this that gives any feeling of catharsis how mad Republicans are about this ruling being leaked. This is a 40-year goal they finally accomplished. They won the fight, and they refuse to be happy. It just shows you how miserable and cynical these ghouls are. That's the thing, they're never more miserable than when they're winning, right? Because the whole conservative ideology is the prerequisite of that is just acting like this perpetual victim. As much as they try to like cast others in that light, I mean that's the main thing about the conservative movement is just this pathological like self-victimization routine. So even when they win, they're still the victims. Right? They're still the victims. Even when they literally win and roll back reproductive rights for millions of people, they're still the victims. And yeah, it's just this phenomenon of just instantly blaming the most powerless people in society, or anyone who's asked the Democratic Party to be tried to hold them accountable in any way, to actually like act on the things that they say are their values. These are the people the first folks that are attacked in these moments. And like if these people are like paid propagandists, it's like, okay, good for you, I guess. You know, however you have to make a living, but I think it's really sad and disturbing the people that are doing this pro bono. Not political consultants, not, you know, staffers, but literally just people online who, again, have invested their whole identity into this completely unaccountable, very powerful political party. And their first instinct in any of these moments is to throw their bodies on the tracks so no one ever blames the political party, like the lawmakers that campaign on these issues and say that they support these issues and then don't do anything to fight for these rights. It's really bizarre to me.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Crazy that we have had to rely on a horribly undemocratic institution to not overturn abortion protections, and Congress has done absolutely zero to actually guarantee it by law, so they can use Republicans might overturn Roe to raise money.
Seriously, Ashput, thank you for the 4 months of tier 1. I mean, that's a big part of it, isn't it? It's like, if these liberals actually cared about these things, they would codify abortion rights into law, right? Barack Obama famously campaigned on this. First thing I'm going to do is, upon election, is codify these rights into law. Didn't do it. You have Biden saying the same thing, and it's just, there's always an excuse. There's always an excuse for why they can't. Now under Biden, they're saying like, well, what do you want us to do? We got 50 votes. We got the slim majorities. Right, I shared that tweet in the Discord last night. We can't, they're giving up already, right? They're already going on just like, well, we got these slim majorities. But the key word there is majorities, right? The key word there is you actually have majorities. And what's the fucking point of being in a political party if you can't whip votes from the people that are members of the party? What is the point? Majorities, that's right. Majority. Okay, I say it correctly and all you are saying it incorrectly. But what's the point of being in a political party when you've got your own party is the one standing in the way of your agenda, your own agenda? And you say, well, we can't, even though we have majorities, they're slim majorities, and we can't actually do anything about that. They couldn't whip votes for Build Back Better, their own, like the agenda that they campaigned on. They campaigned on this big agenda. We can't whip votes for, even though Biden literally campaigned on.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Campaigned on, I'm going to get things done with the Republican Party. I'm going to use my, like, backslapping, handshaking, affable qualities to get the Republican Party on board with my agenda. He can't even do that with his own party. And now they're saying, well, we can't codify these things into law because we only have slim majorities instead of, like, bigger majorities. Once again, I'll point out as well, Obama, 2009, 59 senators. Those were actually super majorities. They were not slim majorities at all. And just has not done it. They made Tim Kaine an anti-abortion Dem, the VP candidate. Nancy's trying to get anti-abortion Quellar reelected. Alana, thank you for gifting a sub, by the way. They were slim super majorities. That's right. It was amazing too to see like Nancy Pelosi's daughter being like, "We warned you." All these lefties. Again, it's always the left's fault anytime something bad happens. All these lefties. We tried to warn you for years, and you had to have your unicorns and your puppies and rainbows and all that stuff. And now look what's happened. When her own fucking mom is literally right now campaigning for an anti-choice man who's under FBI investigation for corruption, by the way, over a pro-choice woman. And her mother is doing that. That's what I mean, though. There's these people that's just been conditioned to immediately blame the least powerful people. and shield these powerful lawmakers from being held accountable in any way. Clyburn just said this morning he's appearing with Quellar tomorrow. Great. Good. Good job. Not getting that pony Bernie wanted to give Americans sure sucks, huh? Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like... I saw people being like, the big crime that Bernie committed was convincing people that passing legislation is just easy and you can just go in and just pass all the legislation you want. And that's literally what Biden campaigned on. Biden campaigned on, I'm going to go and pass legislation, I can get Republicans on board because I'm like Mr. Senate and I'm friends with all these racist segregationists. And that has not panned out. And I mean, that's it. They're leaning back into the vote rhetoric, right? They're leaning back into the vote rhetoric, and people just did. People voted. They voted blue no matter who. They voted blue no matter who in 2008, 2012. Regardless of all the litigating about 2016 as well, I mean, the way Hillary fucked up that election, she did win the popular vote as well. The Democrats are in charge right now. They're literally in charge right now because people voted. And this is just all they have to offer. This is all they have to offer. Well, you don't like what's going on now? Just vote. And like we were saying, it's like the reason they don't codify this stuff into law is because it's beneficial to them to be able to hold this over people's heads, right? If you remove the threat of reproductive rights being restricted or rolled back, if you remove that threat, people aren't going to have this motivator to continue to fund the Democratic Party and continue to vote for Democratic Party politicians. You need to have this axe hanging over people's heads at all times. Yeah, you have the whole thing with Ruth Bader Ginsburg as well, not retiring. I mean, so many powerful liberals have contributed to this moment of abortion rights and reproductive rights basically being on the verge of being made illegal in many places in the United States. So many powerful liberals have played a role in this. And there's what I don't understand is just the willingness that some people have to just immediately in these moments throw their bodies on the tracks to ensure that none of these folks are ever held accountable for their own many failures. And they're already saying, Biden's already saying, well, if a legislation passes my desk, I'll sign it. And which is just basically a way of saying, sorry, not gonna happen. Make sure you show up in November, though. Can't even find his desk. This guy's old as hell. This man's super old. Worth pointing out as well, That yeah, I think this thread is like, it's actually kind of amazing. This thread by Rebecca Mansour of Breitbart. I actually read this, and it's amazing that, like, I honestly don't know when it comes to people like Rebecca whether they know that they're lying or whether they actually believe this stuff. I honestly can't tell. They say the freakout you're witnessing from the left is very instructive. When Roe was handed down 49 years ago, pro-lifers didn't riot, didn't call for SCOTUS to be burned down, didn't threaten the lives of justices, didn't try to stack the court. Pro-lifers, mostly Catholics at first, organized at the grassroots level. They planned an annual peaceful march on Washington. They created crisis pregnancy centers. They got involved in electing politicians. They passed pro-life legislation. They worked within the system of our constitutional republic to enact change at the ballot box and in the hearts and minds of their fellow Americans. If this draft SCOTUS decision holds, then these pro-life Americans, who are now a majority of Americans, I might add, that's also just not true. That's just not correct. Won the right way. And no amount of rioting, violence, fear-mongering, or any other left-wing intimidation tactic can change that. First of all, this is not true. Pro-life people are not the majority of Americans. The vast majority of Americans, as well as people in Canada, think that reproductive rights should be available, and abortion should be legal and safe and available to everybody. So that's just not true. Setting aside that, though, this idea of pro-lifers didn't riot, didn't call for SCOTUS to be burned down, didn't threaten the lives of justices, didn't try to stack the court. These, like, far-right evangelicals have literally been engaging in armed struggle over this. Armed struggle. They've firebombed abortion clinics. They've murdered doctors. This has been with full cooperation with powerful media figures and powerful politicians. They've literally been engaging in a decades-long armed struggle as part of their assault on abortion rights. And this has just been, not only has it been totally, like, normalized, and no one on the right has ever been, like, linked to creating this kind of stochastic terrorism, except by, like, liberal commentators. You know, no one has ever been seriously, this link between right-wing rhetoric in media and politics and violence in abortion clinics or against doctors has never really been examined in any meaningful way. So I think it's really instructive the way that right-wing terrorism has basically become just, like, accepted, or at the very least is kind of like hand waved away.
Any society? Any society? Once the rule of law breaks down, a country is finished. Thus, clear-thinking Americans should condemn the murder of late-term abortionist Tiller. Even though the man terminated thousands of pregnancies, what he did is within Kansas law. The accused killer, 51-year-old Scott Roeder,
this is when he says, okay, I have nothing to do with
the
this.
Freeman Organization, a far-right group which rejects government authority. Roeder is likely to be charged with first-degree murder. He has a previous weapons charge conviction. The 67-year-old Tiller had performed abortions for more than 35 years. The Washington Times estimates he destroyed about 60,000 fetuses. 60,000. According to the AP.
First of all, I mean, the fucking idea that Bill O'Reilly, of all people, or any of these conservative, like, freaks, that they actually care about unborn children. That's the biggest coup of all, isn't it? That they've managed to actually convince people that they care about the lives of unborn children. They obviously don't care. I mean, we can look at the George Carlin clip. I mean, this has been noted for a long time. And again, let's keep watching this clip and we can continue. But like, this is after O'Reilly's own actions led to the murder of this man, and now he's using this show to kind of say like, well, I had nothing to do with this. Like, this is right-wing stochastic terrorism, though. Right? When you have a big audience who, through generations of like manipulating gun laws as well, it's this heavily armed population tuned into this very powerful right-wing media machine. And you frame doctors as being these like mass murderers. You saw, and even in the clip where O'Reilly's talking about this guy that he got killed, you know, one of this guy's fucking deranged audience members kills this guy that he says has blood on his hands. Even in the clip where he's talking about the murder, he's still talking about Tiller as if he's a mass murderer, right? He's still talking about George Tiller like he's a mass murderer. Killing babies. He's a like, when you have a heavily armed populace that is plugged into this right-wing media machine, and you convince people that liberals and Democrats literally support the killing of babies, and you've convinced people that that's what abortion is, and that someone who's been an abortion doctor for decades is basically this mass murderer of tens and thousands of babies. Logically, what are people supposed to do with that information, right? You know, that's pretty much the worst thing that a human being could be, a mass murderer of babies and children. That's what the right frames these people as. And then when their heavily armed audience takes this lesson into account and says, well, I'm going to take the law into my own hands to stop this grave injustice. I mean, I don't see what else they expect to happen. It's this similar to what's happening right now with this campaign of accusing teachers or anyone, any doctor or any psychologist or anyone that legitimizes, you know, or talks to young people about trans issues or LGBTQ issues, being framed as like a child molester, a pedophile, groomer. Like, it's the same thing. It's like when you convince people that this is what is going on, I don't know what else they expect to happen. And again, this is how O'Reilly talks about this guy after he gets murdered. He's still talking about him as if he's a mass murderer. 250
late-term abortions in 2003 alone. His income was estimated to be more than $1 million a year. Right now, 36 states restrict late-term abortions, and there are only 3 clinics that perform them in the entire country. Medical consensus is that late-term abortions are rarely necessary because technology can now pinpoint major pregnancy problems much earlier than 21 weeks. Thus, very few American doctors will perform the operation. None of that seemed to matter to Tiller, nicknamed the baby killer by pro-life groups, who stated he was helping women. Tiller,
nicknamed the baby killer by pro-life groups. Killing babies. Tiller has blood on his hands, and so does the governor, Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly, the guy who wrote a best-selling fiction book about a newscaster going on a shooting spree of his former colleagues after O'Reilly himself was fired from CBS, inspiring a murder? Yeah, no, and I'm sure this fucking rapist really cares. He cares so compassionately about the lives of the unborn. Right? It's preposterous that people like this have any credibility to lecture anybody, whether it's people who need abortions or anybody, about morality. You know, it's fucking absurd that this has ever been taken seriously. Bill O'Reilly is the big moral compass. You know, give me a fucking break.
Stated that. Now, when I heard about Tiller's murder, I knew pro-abortion zealots and Fox News haters would attempt to blame us for the crime, and that is exactly what has happened. Writing in the New York Daily News, reporter Helen Kennedy was very, very sympathetic to Tiller and called my reporting on him rants. Now, Kennedy has lied about us before, so her spin comes as no surprise. Ariana Huffington immediately let her fanatics loose. Mary Mapes, Dan Rather's former producer, who was fired from CBS over a false story on President Bush, wrote on the Huffington Post, quote, "I felt just sick when I saw the bulletin about the murder of Dr. George Tiller. I can already envision the backpedaling and rationalizing that we'll hear from longtime Tiller critic Bill O'Reilly." No backpedaling here, madam. Unlike you, I report honesty. Every single thing we said about Tiller was true, and my analysis was based on those facts.
Killing babies. Tiller has blood on his hands, and so does the governor. Like, this motherfucker. I also think, like, there's this strain of liberal that tries to talk about abortion rights, and they start off their framing by, like, nobody is pro-abortion. You know, those, when you hear these arguments? No, listen, nobody's pro-abortion. Nobody wants anybody to have an abortion, but, which I understand why people feel the need to do that. But also, I think it's like, you're inherently stigmatizing abortion, which is just healthcare. You're inherently stigmatizing it when you make these arguments of no one actually wants people to have abortions. You're suggesting that it is a bad and shameful thing to do, and you're adding to the stigma of it. So, you know, I don't think that's a good way to argue about why abortion rights are necessary, and it stays in the right's framing as well. Liberals love to argue on the grounds that the right has set for them, as if they have any fucking values or anything. It's very 90s Bill Clinton. I want abortion to be rare. Yeah, exactly. Yes, it's not always a difficult decision for everyone. The reality is, if as a society you think it's a valuable goal, or if you think it's a worthwhile goal to reduce the number of abortions that people have, I mean, the way that you do that is by funding, is to make sure that women have mat leave, that the cost of daycare and childcare is less expensive and prohibitive, that contraception is, like, widely available and free. Like, if you actually care about for whatever reason, if you actually care about reducing the number of abortions that people get, this is how this is done. And it's not new to point out this level of hypocrisy. But the way that the right in particular is not only wants abortion to be completely illegal and inaccessible, they also do not believe in mat leave. They don't believe in subsidized childcare. They don't believe in contraception. That's the really fucking sick thing about the way that they've manipulated this. And it's also just flies in the face of this idea that you care about children. Again, this conversation has been going on for decades now, so it feels like very trite to even point this out. But the idea that there are these champions of the unborn, and then literally as soon as a child is born, they want to ensure that the mother or the family does not have access to any resources whatsoever to actually care for a child and provide a high quality of life to the child, regardless of what their economic circumstances are. That's the really sick thing, is that they want forced birth enshrined in law. This is a country for the richest country in the world, is one of the highest in terms of like first world countries, the highest infant mortality rate, one of the highest maternal mortality rates, and they literally want forced birth enshrined into law, and then have no ability for anybody to actually, below a certain income level, to actually provide a quality life for their child. This is all about white supremacist anxieties about the race composition of the country, and worries about population decline as we want to reshore production in Western countries, which requires huge reserve armies of labor to keep wages low. I mean, I think that's one part of it, and another part is just this very like puritanical evangelical obsession with contraception and childbirth and sex and the role of the family, and that they feel like they've lost this constant kind of, you've seen things kind of progressively go in this one direction, this more liberal direction with women's rights, with the sort of the changing of the nuclear family and all this stuff. But that's the ruling class's stake in it. Yeah, that's right. Some Yale dude talking about how it was likely a right winger who leaked this. Yeah, I saw someone sharing that. Let me just see here. I mean, it's really amazing the way that they're freaking out about this leak. They're freaking out about this leak in the Supreme Court. And I think if there's one takeaway, like I said, I don't have a ton of hope in this, because you see the way that a lot of liberals just instantly throw their bodies on the tracks to ensure that no powerful lawmakers are actually criticized over this. But I think one thing that people do need to do, though, is just recognize that this institution is just not legitimate. It has no democratic legitimacy. It's purely partisan. It's just a total sham. There's no democratic legitimacy. There's like, it's just completely arbitrary. I mean, the whole United States government is illegitimate, but the idea that, and this is something I pointed out in a tweet last night, but just the idea that in this beautiful shining beacon of democracy that's the United States, there's literally this council of robed elders who can just decide to roll back reproductive rights for millions of people just arbitrarily, who are not elected, and are literally governing in a way that runs contrary to what the vast majority of the country actually wants. Let me just check out this thread here from Amy Kabczynski. I clerked at the Supreme Court last night. I assumed a liberal clerk leaked the draft opinion overturning Roe. Now I think much more likely it was leaked by a conservative fanatically committed to every word of Alito's monstrous opinion. The thing about Alito's opinion as well is that this is not just about abortion rights, right? It's not just about reproductive rights. They're basically coming for every right that just didn't inherently exist at the foundation of the country. They are going to come back. They're coming back for gay rights. They're possibly going to take another look at the law that enshrined interracial marriage. His whole reasoning for this decision was just like, these are not that has to be if it's not directly mentioned in the Constitution, it has to be based in like a long-standing tradition. So basically, anything that's been adopted over the last couple of decades is just going to fall outside of that idea. Timing. This draft was circulated in February. If a liberal was mad about it, why wait until April to send it to Politico? The op would be out in June. One of the benefits of releasing it early, and a big downside, the focus on the leak itself instead of the opinion. If you work inside the court, you know that the most concrete impact of the leak is to lock in this opinion essentially as is. Any edits at this point reveal jockeying between justices, undermining the majority, and the court itself. Embarrassing to the majority. Liberals have lived for years trying to eke out a sentence here or there in SCOTUS opinions to make these conservative decisions less terrible. Why leak something and undermine their whole strategy? Far and away most likely impact of the leak draft is that it locks in 5 votes for this opinion essentially without edits. Who would want that? So this is about as extreme an opinion as you can have overturning Roe. Talks about fetuses being people as a matter of ancient law, teeing up idea that fetuses are constitutionally protected, no abortion anywhere as a matter of con law. And its arguments undermine all of SCOTUS's gay rights and contraception decisions. Back to timing. Draft majorities circulate first, and then concurrences and dissents. So this is about the right timing for concurrences to come out. I think best bet is that Chief Justice Roberts circulated one recently, adopting a more moderate position. Maybe Roberts says abortion's okay in some time frame, preserving exceptions for the life of the woman, etc., and Kavanaugh is tempted by it, maybe not enough to vote for it, but enough to demand some changes to the Alito opinion. Now let's talk psychology of Supreme Court clerks. The kinds of liberal students who end up at the court are not an activist bunch. They're enormously risk-averse and rule-abiding. Hard to see how one of them blows their career out of the water in this way for what benefit. Leaking is much more of the style of conservatives right now. Think about what Justice Thomas is doing as a model for a clerk here, making a mockery of the court's recusal rules, re his wife's role in the January 6th coup attempts. Conservatives have shown that they're willing to break the public trust in the court to get their way. If you want the liberal view, read Justice Breyer's recent book, literally called The Peril of Politics. Conservatives also know that the leak will be blamed on the left, distracting from how devastating the reversal of Roe will be to the credibility of the court. The career consequences if someone found out are far smaller on right than left too, I'd wager. This is in no way the most important story here. Alito's opinion is horrific, and we failed the young people of this country yet again. It's a devastating moment. Much more to say about that soon. But I'm with these people about what likely happened here, though I think done by a clerk, not a justice, Occam's razor, just makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. What do you say, Chad? Are you convinced by this? Are you convinced by this? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know who leaked this thing. This seems a little bit to me to be kind of doing mental gymnastics to say like what this wasn't done. A liberal didn't undermine the legitimacy of the court like this. And locking in the opinion part is what matters. Yeah, I don't know. It's possible. I don't know. Does it matter? I don't know if it does. I don't know. It is true, like the clerks are the biggest try-hard nerds on the planet, especially particularly on the liberal side. I do kind of think there's some credence to that like liberals that end up clerking for the Supreme Court are not these like radical activists. All the Fox News messaging was about the leaker, completely in lockstep immediately, right-wing op through and through. Yeah, I think that's pretty compelling. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting idea. I'm not really sure though. Oh boy. Excuse me. Sorry. Let me look at maybe some other takes. We can take a look at about this. It's just, it is really amazing the way that while Democrats control the presidency, the Senate, and Congress, this sense of like helplessness.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Oh goodness, thank you very much, Jameson. Thank you, Jameson, for the 5 gifted subs. Much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. This is what I was mentioning before, too. Reading through the leaked decision, Alito makes it clear that Obergefell and Lawrence will be overturned. This means same-sex marriage will be illegal again in 30-plus states and homosexuality illegal in 12. It's not if, but when. It's a stage 5 cancer diagnosis for LGBT rights. I saw another interesting take as well. How, like, when you take this assault on abortion rights that's happening right now in America simultaneously as an assault on trans rights and LGBTQ rights. Like, how can you possibly be like an anti-trans feminist? I think you must be able to see the way that these things are linked. The coordinated assaults on abortion rights and trans rights and LGBTQ rights happening simultaneously. And the idea that there's still women that are kind of like pretending that the existence of trans people is somehow a threat to their rights, when it's the same people trying to take away rights for both of these groups. Saw an article saying the leak is worse than January 6th. Well, it's really impressive the way that they're losing their minds about this leak. Suggesting that it somehow delegitimizes the Supreme Court in the United States, which, as I've said, is not legitimate. It's already not legitimate. It isn't. But it is very amazing the way that they're completely freaking out about this idea that this was leaked. And that's the main, again, it speaks to this level of like victimization complex that these folks have. It does delegitimize the entire Constitution. I mean, the fucking Constitution is garbage. Like, that's, I think, the main takeaway that people should have about this. Not that voting is going to solve this or any other issue, but, like, the whole state is just completely based. It's not democratic. It's not legitimate. Whether it's the Supreme Court, the Senate, I mean, it's all complete bullshit. And I just don't know if people are going to buy. Like, I don't think all the fear mongering that the Democratic Party are going to do about this between now and November. And now this is what's going to be held. This is like, again, it's the axe that gets held over everyone's head. This is the reason you have to vote for the Democratic Party, because of this, your literal rights are under threat. while they're in charge now and not doing the things that they said they would do. It just still seems like they're on their way to just getting fucking annihilated, regardless. At which point it will become fully impossible to, meaningfully change anything. Like, they can't even pass an agenda when they have majorities, slim majorities. If our rights granted by the state are so fragile, it seems like we should seize them for ourselves instead. Well, that's what I mean. It's like the state is not legitimate. And they're not rights. That's the thing. If it's so fragile, then it's not a right. Like, that's not what having a rights is. When it's under this constant threat, when you have to like operate with this constant like axe over your neck that might fall at any time, and these rights can just be taken away at any moment. That's not a right. That's not what a right is. They're not rights. Do you think a return to the divine right of monarchs is the answer? No, I do not. I disagree. Unless it's going to be me that's put in charge, in which case I do agree. I would do a good job, but I wouldn't trust anyone else to be in that position. Divinely ordained, powerful leader. I would do good things with that, but I wouldn't trust anybody else with it. Waiting for Twitter to start banning folks intimating that hitting the pavement is what's needed, not voting. And this is the amazing thing. When I talked about like the legitimization of right-wing violence, right? It's like if you go, for example, and start talking about other non-electoral means to claw back these rights, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. You're going to be banned from social media. You might even have the police knocking at your door if you're talking about elected officials. Meanwhile, the right has been engaging openly in this open campaign of armed struggle to create this situation. I think it's about time the Dems forced the vote on codifying Roe v. Wade. Unironically, though, and absolutely, yeah, they should. They should. C. Doyle Disrespecter, please shut the fuck up. How about that? This is my question. How about you ask me a question? I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, right back at you. Democrats don't want to protect abortion rights. They're just agnostic to it. I don't like that Democrats are so incompetent and could have protected it a dozen ways in the last decade. Democrats are very competent. People just want to believe that Democrats are different from what they are. Yeah, I mean, it's the same way that we want to blame sort of like imperialist violence on incompetence too. They just stumbled their way into this one. They messed it up again. Ah, shucks. They messed it up again. It's similar with the Democratic Party. Can you believe it? We really messed this one up. That's not a question. Well, explain to me this, Seed Oil Disrespecter. If I'm asking you to please shut the fuck up, that is a question. I'm asking you to please shut the fuck up. Asking. In fact, I'm saying please. So I'm asking very politely. So RBG should for sure have retired while on the bench, right? Or is that just a blame game? I don't think she should be exclusively held responsible for it, but yes. It's like, yes, she should have fucking retired. She's like 90 years old. Yes, she should have retired when Obama was the president and could have appointed a new justice. Like, it's a no-brainer. And literally, there was liberals when these conversations were going on in like 2014, literally saying like, "Shh, how dare you disrespect our RBG, the notorious RBG. How dare you, sir?" It's her right to literally die on the fucking bench in this lifetime appointment, dooming millions of people to have their abortion and contraceptive rights completely arbitrarily taken away. Everyone involved did everything wrong they possibly could. Yeah. Dems are in a cycle of abuse. What's this? Yeah, it's just this is the only answer that people have. We're angry and hurt, I know. But it's not about filibuster, size of the court, or what the Senate hasn't passed. It's about Republicans, not us. We can save our freedoms, but it's November, stupid. They're literally in charge of the government. People voted. Okay, like, what more do you want? They voted. They could have found the votes to codify it in 2009, but Obama et al. Trusted the norms of established law. Well, and that's the thing about the norms, too. This is what they always point out. Right? We can't... I know we've lost the Supreme Court, and there's all these, like, evangelical weirdos on there that are now just arbitrarily deciding to roll back all these rights. But you see, we can't expand the Supreme Court. We can't abolish the filibuster. We can't make any of these structural changes. We can't change any of these rules or norms in order to pass our agenda, because what if if we did that? Well, then Republicans would be able to do bad stuff. And we wouldn't want that. We wouldn't want Republicans and conservatives and reactionaries and evangelicals. We wouldn't want them to be able to do bad stuff like, say, make abortion illegal. That's why we can't do these things. So they still have a short amount of time that they could even attempt to do anything like this, and that's the argument, right? We can't do it because then the Republicans would do bad stuff too. That's the excuse every time. If you don't vote harder for Zelensky for SCOTUS, this is all on you. Eugene Debs, in the Republican Party, the Republican and Democratic parties, you of the common herd are not expected to think. That's not only unnecessary, but might lead you astray. They do the thinking and you do the voting. And in fact, I saw another really good Debs quote that I'm sure many of you saw as well, specifically referencing the Supreme Court. Yeah, this quote here from Debs's Eugene Debs's 1919 May Day speech. And to stop him from thinking thus, they're going to put me and my comrades in jail. With every drop of my blood, I defy their law and I despise them. I am appealing to you, to the common people. I care nothing about the Supreme Court. Corporation lawyers, every last one of them. The Supreme Court is not the court of last resort. The people are. And it speaks to, I think, just the way that liberals rely on these norms and these institutions. And just rely, pass the buck to these like unshakable, unbreakable institutions. Anytime something happens that they don't like. When any law or any norm I mean, it only exists to the extent that like we allow it to exist and we give it power by respecting it. Like, it really would just be a matter of anyone coming close to power, being willing to change or destroy these norms, and just daring someone to actually come and tell them no, which they just steadfastly refuse to do. Yeah, there you go. There it is. You need to vote harder. Will you pass voter protection so the votes get counted? No, you have to vote harder for us to do that. You know, we were going to pass a whole bill that expanded voting rights or enshrined voting rights for millions of people. Unfortunately, you didn't vote hard enough the first time for us to do that, so now you have to vote even harder to overcome the roadblocks that are being put in place to vote. You got to vote even harder so we can get in charge and actually do the things that we said that we were going to do. Remember that time the USSR quickly enshrined abortion rights among so many others because they were evil, tanky authoritarians? I mean, that's true, Sean. I think it's worth pointing out that Stalin made abortion illegal, which is obviously terrible. There was, at the very least, though, there was robust safety net in place of, you know, ensuring women had maternity leave, and they were ensuring there was actual resources going into helping women and advancing women's rights, even though that was a horrible thing that Stalin did. Yeah, we shouldn't just hand wave that away either. People keep forgetting the U.S. Supreme Court is one of the most racist institutions in the USA and has never failed to uphold liberty for black and indigenous people. I mean, well, that's the whole thing, is right. Regardless of who's sitting on the Supreme Court, regardless of who is in the Senate or the House. I mean, these are institutions that are designed to uphold the status quo and uphold the racial and gender and economic hierarchies that the country's founded by. No, you're totally right, Sean Meat, about Lenin. It's just maybe not quite as black and white as all that. And it's really amazing just the way that... Let me find some more stuff here. It's a thread about reproductive justice being class war. We can look at that. Excuse me, there's this statement from Biden. Oh, and I wanted also to take a look at like, rather than responding with like a concrete plan about how to enshrine these rights, it's so fucking impotent. This entire response from all these powerful people in the United States government. Right, so there's this. This is from the statement that Pelosi and Schumer put out last night. Every Republican senator who supported Senator McConnell and voted for Trump justices, pretending that this day would never come, will now have to explain themselves to the American people. Like, what the fuck? What do they think that that's going to do? Do they think that these conservatives and Republicans care? They're going to explain themselves to the American people. What do they think is going to happen? Like, I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't understand what they think that this means. They really think that they're going to be like, going to be held accountable. They're going to explain themselves to the American people. Like, what is that? You know what their explanation is going to be? It's going to be, haha, we win. You know what their explanation is going to be, Husker? It's going to be this.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Let me tell you, we don't care. I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Let me tell you, we don't care.
They're not going to explain shit. Like, that is not going to accomplish anything. Oh, they're going to be held accountable at the ballot box when they explain themselves to the American people. You have this from Biden. If the court does overturn Roe, it will fall on our nation's elected officials at all levels of government to protect a woman's right to choose, and it will fall on voters to elect pro-choice officials this November. They're literally in charge of the government, right? Voters delivered them big majority in the House, the White House, and 50 Senate seats. There's zero chance, literally zero. There is zero chance that they are going to expand on that Senate majority. Zero. Less than zero. There's less than zero chance that they're going to expand on that Senate majority in November. It's not going to happen. Dog, I'm not waiting in the Georgia November weather for 2 hours to vote for Stacey Abrams. Like, and they must know this, right? They know this. There is no chance that they're going to expand on that Senate majority. Even when you look at the Supreme Court, like as much as a failure the Democratic Party is, how many times has the Republican Party won the popular vote in the last 20 years? Once? Twice, I guess? Once or twice in the last 20 years? How many Supreme Court justices have Democrats nominated in that time? Versus how many? The idea of linking this to voting, I just think has been proved so completely fucking preposterous. I don't get how anyone can kind of make this argument and claim that this is the solution for enshrining abortion rights or any other rights or accomplishing anything. Is there any serious person even thinking the Dems will hold the Senate? I don't think so. I think anyone that's making that suggestion is it's full, Baghdad Bob copium relic. I think everyone knows. I mean, I've even I have I know people in Washington that are friends with Democratic staffers and stuff. These people are all looking for new jobs. They're all looking for new jobs after November. They all know that they're not going to win. This is just common knowledge at this point. Here's this thread about abortion rights as class warfare. Just one sec. Okay. Why does the capitalist class care about abortion? The U.S. economy. This is what Red Scary was hinting at before. Why does the capitalist class care about abortion? The U.S. economy relies on the uncompensated labor of birthing people to function. A historically low birth rate means low consumer demand and less replaceable workers. Reproductive justice is class war. The demands of childbearing have changed rapidly over the last century, with most parents today unable to raise children without severe debt. The state's refusal to enact social programs, including paid parental leave and free health care, causes people en masse to reconsider having kids. Enforcing the exploitation of feminine reproductive labor as an uncompensated, invisible form of work keeps the burden of childcare in the private sphere and absolves the state from its responsibility to support birthing people and children once they're born and have needs. This phenomenon has resulted in historically low birth rates and a new crisis for capitalism, an aging workforce, low consumer demand, stagnant economy, and in the age of COVID, an increasingly permanently disabled population. Liberal feminists misplaced their focus on defeating evangelical conservatives by voting in democratic values, and thus overlooked the crucial materialist panic driving the true war on reproductive rights. That's why we have abortion overturned with a Dem majority in Congress. In comparison, concern over low birth rates in other countries and left-wing projects has driven massive social overhauls in the institution of nationalized healthcare, paid worker leave, doula and postpartum support, free public housing and education, childcare, and more. What we're seeing is capitalism's response to a simple economic problem. Our enemies aren't just religious bigots infringing on reproductive rights, but the entire corporate patriarchy, built, maintained, and fueled by both political parties. We cannot vote our way to liberation. The origin of family, private property, and the state, Engels outlines the role of property and inheritance in the creation of the nuclear family. He concludes that revolution will eliminate class differences and thus end the enslavement of women and the sex trade. Reproductive justice is not only class warfare, but anti-colonial struggle. The U.S., which in its very existence creates the ongoing genocide of indigenous and black people, seeks to destroy and replace the original inhabitants of Turtle Island with settlers via settler colonialism. We see the link between reproductive justice and settler colonialism in Palestine, where the explicit goal of maintaining a Jewish demographic majority necessitates the reproductive oppression of Palestinian women, including widespread forced sterilization. Inaction on COVID-19 has also driven eugenics policy to purposefully eliminate disabled, poor, black, and indigenous and otherwise undesirable populations. And when white supremacy thrives on moral panic about low birth rates and immigration, abortion restrictions are eugenics too. The ruling class will have no issue accessing birth abortion after it's made illegal, but the SCOTUS decision will force mass unconsensual breeding that drives workers further into poverty and already medically abused BIPOC into health crises and increasingly dangerous births. Interesting class analysis of the role that these reproductive rights play. This is very common among the ruling class to explicitly speak about the racial makeup of the country and worry about declining birth rates among their preferred racial categories, not conspiratorial. Yeah, no, I mean that is a common theme, I think, in a lot of these kind of this right-wing thought. I mean, that's where the whole panic about white genocide is coming from, right? The differences in birth rates, the declining birth rate among white people. I mean, and especially if you couple this kind of thing with an assault on immigrants as well. And an even harder, like more rigid authoritarian crackdown on immigration. So all in all, I think this is all part of a larger picture of this right-wing takeover that's happening in the United States. The assault on abortion rights, the assault on trans rights, and other LGBTQ rights. Like we've talked about, even though the SCOTUS has ruled on gay marriage, it seems like that's going to be in the crosshairs of these like activist conservative judges as well. And it is, I think it's just really scary. It's really scary evidence of sort of what is on the horizon, especially when you consider the like electoral prospects of these liberals who are still just trying to kind of impotently claim that if you vote for them, they'll be able to prevent these things from happening, despite all evidence to the contrary. As I pointed out, the right engaged in armed struggle in order to help bring about this moment. That's been kind of like accepted, whitewashed by the media establishment, the political establishment. I don't expect anyone on the opposite side engaging in the similar tactics would be treated in the same way. But you see the illegitimacy, the democratic illegitimacy of all these institutions are just becoming more and more clear, more and more apparent. I think someone has a revolutionary optimism thread. Oh, that might have been in the chat that someone shared that. Let a motherfucker in America tell me we fight in wars for civil rights for gays and women when they can't even secure shit here. Maybe now Karen and the Bridezilla suburban gays will join the fray again if they get their shit taken away. Do you support banning hate speech like Donald Trump's Twitter and Milo Yiannopoulos? And yeah, I believe in suppressing the forces of reaction. Absolutely. What I don't really trust tech overlords as currently constituted. The tech overlords of Twitter and Twitch and Facebook, I don't trust them to be making these decisions. Overall, yes, though. I agree with suppressing these reactionary viewpoints. Yes, just in practice. The problem is when we complain to these tech companies about this, in practice, it doesn't actually end up turning out like this. Again, this is why I should be put in charge of this kind of thing, because I would be able to make these kinds of tough decisions.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Oh my goodness, what's this? Metal Dipshit. Metal Dipshit, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you, Metal Dipshit. You're not a dipshit at all. I think you're a nice person. But thank you. Where are the Madison Cawthorn type picks on Manchin? I mean, this is something that I was asking before. It's like, what's the point of having a political party when one person in your party can veto your whole agenda and they just don't do anything? Like, they don't threaten to kick him out of the party. They don't offer up any consequences at all. I mean, Manchin's obviously corrupt. His whole corrupt, shitty family. You know, a real, actual political leader that cared about legislating and doing positive things would be like, Joe, I'm going to put your fucking daughter in jail. Get on board. Can I count on your vote, sir? I'm going to put your whole fucking corrupt family in jail, Mr. Manchin, sir. You know, or literally do anything. Do anything to put pressure on Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin's literally cutting ads right now for moderate Republicans in West Virginia being like, I oppose the Build Back Better agenda. Just bragging in ads for Republicans that he arbitrarily vetoed the president's agenda that millions of Americans supported and voted on. And this guy, they just don't do anything. And yeah, meanwhile you have Madison Cawthorn exposes the coke orgies, the Washington coke orgies, and he's got immediately in the press a whole week-long news cycle of all the buried shit that they had on him gets released to the public. You don't have anything on Joe Manchin you can start using? No, and that's true, Red Wizard. That's the ultimate issue, is that it's not even Manchin or Sinema. Like, they're the rotating villains for this cycle. If it was, there's certainly way more Democrats that do not want to support these things. It's just they have to take these kind of steps to sort of shield themselves and to suggest to people that they do want to do these positive things while not doing anything. Joe, I'm going to drill a comically large hole in the side of your yacht. Can I count on your vote? Joe, Mr. Manchin, sir, have you ever heard about the expression going down with the ship? This is what's going to be happening to you. I mean, well, to say nothing of like abortion rights or trans rights that are under threat right now, it's like the Democrats campaign. You know, the climate change, you know, the catastrophic, civilization threatening threat that is rapidly confronting on the horizon. Democrats have done nothing about this. They have like another 4 months to even pass any climate change bill whatsoever. They're not even doing that. They're not even doing that. And this is not even just about trans rights or abortion rights. This is literally the full future of humanity is what's at stake here, and they're just not doing anything. Literally nothing. What's up, Starlight? Welcome. And it's very strange. I'm getting pretty fucking convinced they're supposed to just soothe us and do nothing. Yeah, it's just managing expectations downward. That's the whole job. That's the Democrats' job. Just manage expectations downward. Yeah, of course, $3 billion to Ukraine, though, which they just invent. They just snap their fingers and just make $3 billion to appear for Javelin missiles, which they're sending to neo-Nazis. That's okay. Yeah, I'm a little sick, Starlight. A little bit sick. Ugh. Worse than nothing, they're expanding the problem. Yeah, they are. $33 billion, not $3 billion. Yes, sir. My mistake. My mistake. I thought that felt a little low. the climate can wait. Putin is far more dangerous. I mean, ironically, drastically expanding green energy would actually take power away from Putin. If Putin is so bad, you could drastically expand green energy in Europe and America and rely less on Russian oil and gas. But they're not doing that either. They're nice neo-Nazis. You haven't seen their documentary videos. They teach MMA to kids. Okay. Maybe I had this all wrong. This Democratic administration really make me question democracy. Still like to believe in it, but within the context of capital, it's all kind of fake, isn't it? I mean, the ultimate example for me is just witnessing the way that the establishment attacked people like Bernie Sanders and Jeremy Corbyn as if they were like white blood cells, like fending off an infection. These very moderate, like, old grandpas who wanted to make things slightly less miserable for people. Like, the reaction, nothing... You can't say we live in a democracy and then examine the ways that, like, the establishment made it fully clear that they would not ever be allowed to come anywhere near the levers of power. Ugh. So, I don't know what the solution is. I don't know what the solution is to any of this stuff. And in fact, I'm not even that precious about voting, right? I think it's clear that these liberals don't have the answers or solutions to any of these fundamental problems, whether it's protecting abortion rights or trans rights or gay rights or protecting the environment. Perhaps there's few marginal things around the edges that can be held in place through this electoral process, but I think it should be clear to everyone by now that nothing fundamentally will change just through this. And it's going to have to come through militant organizing outside of that system. Hello, good morning, Lodane. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Bill O'Reilly used this kind of stochastic terrorism. When you say someone has blood on their hands, and you convince people that they're a mass murderer of babies, the people that are passing these laws restricting abortion access are going to have blood on their hands, right? It's not just about forced births. It's not even about preventing abortions, which it won't do. People will still get abortions, and people will die, and it will be less safe. People will die because of this. And those people have blood on their hands. The people that are making these rules will have blood on their hands. If the people that are spreading these smears about teachers grooming kids, or any healthcare professional or psychologist talking to young people about trans issues, accusing them of being pedophiles and groomers, etc. Like, they'll have blood on their hands too if one of their psychotic armed audience members decides to act on these apparently horrific crimes that are being described. They'll have blood on their hands too. Hello, vexing thoughts. Hello. Yeah, it is when, not if. Yeah. It is when, not if. Put some chicken soup in that water bottle. I might go make a tea or something in a few minutes. I think I should probably stop talking so much. Again, folks, this is the devotion that I have to you. You, the community. Doesn't matter that how I'm feeling, right? I'm willing to sacrifice my own well-being, my own health and safety to provide the content. That you've come to know and expect. Have you taken a rapid test? Yes, I have. And I took a test and I tested negative, but I've also been informed that perhaps it'd be better to take a test that does more of like a cheek swab than the nose. So perhaps I do have COVID and I just got a false negative. I don't know, but I did do a test on Sunday. I think Venom just got you sick by licking your mic. I mean, I was literally like sleeping in the bed with him like a week or so ago. And he was like coughing he started coughing in his sleep, and I just feel the droplets like hitting my fucking face. And I was like, oh damn it.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Can chat give an applause for the bravery of our fearless leader Rob Bunclap, not the leader of a cult, to be clear. TRRS trustworthy Rob seems good 100 seems good 100.
Thank you, Useless. Thank you for the 200 friend card. And that's absolutely right, that it's not a cult. I think it's important to keep that in mind. It isn't a cult. And there's no we don't even need to joke about that. Because I'm just getting over COVID now, and you look and sound like where I was about a week ago. Okay. Wonderful. I mean, it could be, it's also just like it could be sick. I could just have a cold, and I'm just not used to having colds anymore. Because I haven't had a cold in like 2 years, because everyone's wearing masks and stuff inside. You got a long green text I can post to explain why this is not a cult. Oh, let's see if I can find it. I remember Lyle Langley had the best explanation for why it's not a cult. I wish I could find that now. I knew I should have saved it. My kids had a fever last week, and I told them all to go to sleep in your beds. I caught a cold at the most. My wife suffered a fever for sleeping with those germ monsters. Seriously. Yeah, okay. It is a Shai Hulud themed subscription based fan loyalty tiered support system. Not a cult. To be clear about that. A Shai Hulud themed subscription based fan loyalty tiered support system. And just because we kind of joke around, just because we kind of joke around with images like this, right? That doesn't make it a cult. Nothing about this makes it a cult, or a pyramid scheme, or a multi-level marketing scheme. Did we ever see the back of the triangle? Are we sure it's not a pyramid? I'm positive. I'm positive it is not. It's exclusively a two-dimensionally shaped. So. Really gnarly in the non-subscriber area down there. Again, yeah, we love our non-subscribers. We love our lurkers. Just less than the people that are part of the system. I love the idea of Rob referring to his midsection value as the chaos zone. Yeah, it's the chaos, especially after McDonald's Wednesday. You know? They're suffering down there.
You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Thank you, Alana, for the gifted sub. Thank you, I appreciate that. Or Taco Monday, for that matter. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Husker. Going to play the new Dune game on stream. I didn't know there was a new Dune game. You know what? I think I am going to play No Man's Sky because I can't talk much more. I can maybe like game and play No Man's Sky, but I don't feel like I can talk much more. I got to go pick up my kid in 1 hour, and I don't think I'm going to do the thing where I go pick him up and come back. I got to try and like maybe chill a little bit. So if any other viewers, though, do want to support the channel by subscribing, I know when I start doing gaming stuff, usually that's when people kind of move on to other things. So if there's another couple of viewers out there that want to join the community, get the emotes, join the Discord server, join the community, now is your time to do that.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Arachnozak, thank you very much.
TRRS Sankara.
Look at that. Thank you, Arachnozak, for the 14 months resub at tier 3. Thanks, Arachnozak. Really appreciate that. You know what? I'm just gonna play this music for a few minutes and try to see if we can get a little closer to the goal. I'm just gonna take 5 minutes to do that. We're gonna be entering the gaming zone shortly afterwards. Very small. Okay. Here we go. We're entering the gaming zone. Entering the gaming zone here. I'm gonna turn down the desktop audio a little bit. Okay. I just have to one thing that I have to do. I have to edit my stream info. Done. Okay. Okay. Now I've been holding off on a big part of this, my next quest, actually, because I've been waiting to see, I've been waiting till I was streaming to do it. But I do have to, I mean, I've got a lot of, like, mining to do. I need to make money, basically. That's the main thing I need to do in this game. I'm on my Sigma grind set, even in No Man's Sky. But I do have to test out my warp engines. I've got to warp to a new galaxy, which perhaps we can do today. And if anyone still does want to subscribe to the channel, of course you're more than welcome to. Please feel free to continue subscribing if that's what you want. Only if that's what you want. Another dimension, new galaxy. That's right, metal dipshit. Intergalactic, planetary. Isn't it weird that that album's like, how old is that album? Is it over 20 years old now? 25 years old? Fuck, I remember when that came out. It's bizarre. It's really bizarre. $1998. That's fucking weird, man. That's weird. Feels like yesterday was the dawning of a new millennium. Okay. Okay, so I'm on this spaceship. Here's where my outfit's looking like. I'm not crazy about the cape because I like having the backpack, but my son was really insistent that we put the cape. Because he loves capes and superheroes and stuff. You like the cape, Squatch? Okay. It's actually fun to play this game with my son. He really likes it. The, like, exploring, you know, the feeling of discovering all these new places, the customization. He thinks that's really cool, I think. It's fun to do. Let's see, I don't know if I have anything to sell. It said Pugnium. Should I sell that? I have 227,000 credits. I think maybe I need to, like, let me see here. Geodes, analyze. Okay. I can sell that. Okay. Salvage data. I don't want to sell that. I need that. Okay. I don't know why this planet now is discovered by King Uendo, when I'm sure I've discovered this planet. I literally built a base on this planet, and I've gotten no credit for this discovery. It's King Uendo apparently discovered this planet. What's the deal with that? How do you discover a planet that someone else has a base on? That's the question. Right? I don't know. No one can answer this question for me. Looks like the colonizer got colonized. Looks like it. He's from the UK, that's it. Oh my goodness. So I guess I really should just... I've got my warp fuel all ready to go. I guess that's the first thing I can do here. Discovered by King Uendo! How did King Uendo come here and colonize my entire galaxy here? Ridiculous. Access the galaxy map. They've got an exceedingly efficient edit. I guess so. Well, how do I do this here? Jesus. That's where I'm right now. I'm gonna go here. Okay, are we ready to warp? I'm gonna test out the warp drive.
Use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Here we go.
The credit has been taken away from you, Rob. Must have been Elon Musk billions bun raid.
How did Elon Musk discover these galaxies? Ridiculous. While there were people, and thank you for the 200 friend coin, useless. While there were people in buildings already on the planet, no one called dibs in a British accent before me. Jesus. Here we go, I'm warping. Yeah, I'm freaking warping over here. Oh. Warping to a new galaxy. Oh my. Okay. I've warped. I've warped to a new galaxy. Hyperdrive error. Fuel depleted. Oh, good. Hello. Accept guidance to fuel source. Another space station. Don't have a ton of pulse engine fuel either. Jesus. planet Slingmore Sigma. Okay, got some radiation. Target sweep from the visor.
Radiation protection falling.
Getting closer, okay. Ah! Ah! Oh boy, it's hostile. It attacked me first, folks. It attacked me first, alright? I was trying to scan it. I was trying to scan this creature and it attacked me. I care about all living beings. An interesting guy there. Buried technology module. Ooh. This is interesting. Typical colonizer mentality, you disturb their territory. It tries to protect it and instantly grabs the gun and starts blasting. It is true. That is what happened. That's absolutely right. Oh boy. I think some sentinels are gonna come get me here. My traveler or friend? I think I'm a traveler. Not friend to you, random monolith. I don't know what your game is. Is it first? Is it last? It is first. Have they seen the Crimson Eye? It has seen the eye has seen it. Both. I haven't seen any crimson eye. I'm gonna go with 2. Breach detected. Find us, traveler. Okay. Warp cell. What's all this then? Scanning some stuff. All kinds of milestones being crossed here. Some more salvage data, that's always good. More over this ways.
Life support power low.
Well, maybe I'll add some oxygen to your precious life support system. It is kind of like mine. It's got a Minecraft element to it, definitely. Is this my mining? No, I'm in manipulator mode. Manipulator mode on this multi-tool. It's actually me when I talk to women. When a woman talks to me, I engage manipulator mode immediately, just like I did with my multi-tool just now.
Radiation protection falling. Units received.
Hey. Hey, I don't want any trouble, buddy. I don't want any trouble. I don't want any trouble, sir. Leave me alone. And where's that technology module I'm trying to find here? I'm just looking for a technology module. This is your last warning. Okay. It didn't have to be this way. It didn't have to be this way. Ooh, some nanites. Very nice.
Radiation protection void.
Hey. Who's this guy? Ow. What the? It's outrageous. I'm being treated with a lot of disrespect by the animals on this planet here.
Technology recharge.
Hostile aliens on this planet here.
Radiation protection falling.
I've been playing a lot of Subnautica lately. That game is so sick. I never played that one. Hey. Watch it. Drop pod. Rob Rousseau the Walker. That's what they say about me. That's what they call me. I always try to befriend all the alien creatures, okay? I always try to be respectful of all living beings, in this game and in real life. You all saw that they're threatening me, though. I don't like it any more than you do. Weapon charge depleted.
Technology recharge.
So if you're not familiar, you need to find this buried technology which gives you salvage data. When this salvage data helps you learn how to build new things, new computer systems, and you need all the salvage data you can to able to start building this new stuff. Just digging big tunnels in their planet. Whatever. Damaged machinery, all kinds of stuff to find down here. I need this game in my life. Honestly, it's really enjoyable. Comrade social distancing. Oh crap. It's really enjoyable. I think even if you're engaging in kind of like grinding or, you know, mining, finding stuff. I mean, normally I don't find that stuff that enjoyable, but it's kind of, I'm more into that in this game than...
Inventory full.
Oh, good. Inventory full. Wonderful. I love that. Absolutely love it. Silicate powder. Do I even need this for any reason? I really have major inventory problems that I'm going to have to start figuring out here. Feline livers. There's to eat all these feline livers that I got here. Oh wow, you can turn a tidy profit of some of this animal components. That's interesting.
Radiation protection falling.
Is this game still bad with inventory management? I would say yes. You can definitely buy more inventory slots and stuff, but at first especially it's tough. I got in like a whole battle with some sentinels the other day, and it was annoying because like I ran out of bolt caster ammo, and then I go to take off in my starship and I'm out of fuel, and I can't make new fuel because I need to make metal plating to make the fuel, and I have no inventory slots available for any of this stuff. So I just like run away, and I just couldn't make ammo or fuel because my inventory was just completely like filled up, which was a little frustrating. Uh-oh. Whoa. Oh boy.
Radiation protection falling. Technology recharging. Inventory full.
Oh man. Talk about inventory management issues. Jeez. Now I've got to figure out how to... I'm going to drop some stuff, just so I can pick up my navigation data, which should just stack on top of that, really, shouldn't it? No slots there to install that. Good. This is going great. This is going just great. Why do you have cat food? It's good, Maxie, because I in self-defense, I had to take out some of those alien creatures in purely self-preservation. I didn't want to, but I had to take the feline livers from those creatures that were trying to do me harm. You know, I didn't like it, but that's what I had to do. I was gonna drop this, I guess. Whatever. Shouldn't I be able to... Oh, okay, it's not enough, I see. Okay. Okay, I better stop messing around here.
Radiation protection falling.
Whoops. It is amazing, yeah. And this game, I think, replicates that idea of visiting and exploring these strange new places. Like I was playing with my kid yesterday, and like I seemed seeing that planet up with the rings up in the sky there. And we explored this like planet like that, which he recognized as being like Saturn. And you're on this planet at nighttime, and you see the big rings like at night in the sky. It's kind of this awe-inspiring feeling. Not enough fuel in launch thruster. Well, Jesus Christ. First I'll add my warp cell to the hyperdrive. Get that. And we gotta make starship fuel. Launch fuel for the launch thruster. Here's where it gets kind of annoying. Because now I've got to make metal plating. And now I have to make launch fuel. But how? I do not have another slot. Even in my starship, I don't have another slot to make launch fuel. It's a little frustrating. Great. Interloper Rob, your pathetic multi-tool makes me sick. Please look at my wares. I am going to eventually upgrade that, obviously. I do like the little kind of Star Trek level like, phaser type thing, though. I think that's cool. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of this fakium, which is literally like a kind of like alien poop, or I believe is my understanding of what it is. So there. Made my launch fuel. Add my launch fuel to the launch thrusters. Here we go, ready to go. I hate inventory management because the way I play games like this is to scan every inch of every room location for items and stuff, and will pick up anything that might be useful in the future. So I end up spending 70% of my game time organizing inventories, deciding whether to drop this or that, weighing up what's useful, and it's just stressful. It is stressful. Yesterday someone dropped items in my inventory worth 250 million units. Well, that sounds pretty good. When am I going to have that kind of generosity? That's the question. No one's dropping me 250 million units. I'm going to hustle and grind my way into this. I had to grind for this view. I'm just looking because there's some asteroids that have like valuable minerals. Not that I have the ability to store them, but tritium, excellent. Where's that space station? Is it there? Yeah, there we go. Head over there. And now I gotta fuel up my pulse engines as well.
Technology recharge.
wish I could just relax and role play and not pick up everything. There's always that thing too of like you find good items and it's like, well, I could use this now, or I could save it for this time in the future, this unknown time in the future when I might need it even more than now. Then you end up getting to the end of the game and you got all these like unused items that you could have used to make the game easier, like at any point, and haven't. Whoa. The colonizer even destroying the ancient asteroids. Excuse me. I gotta go in about 5 minutes, I guess, so this is just a minor and brief. Ah! It's kind of embarrassing. You show up at the space station and immediately just embarrass yourself with your jetpack ineptitude. It's nice. These space stations are like McDonald's. No matter where you go in the galaxy, they all look the same. Sell all these animal parts and stuff. There we go. Now we're talking. Could I technically warp back to my colony? Yes, I could. Okay, good. When I was a kid, I would skip through all the story and instructions, so I remember going back to play games realizing I didn't upgrade anything. Yeah, that's funny too. Oh, I was playing this on extreme difficulty mode the entire time. Didn't realize. Did not realize. Who's this Joker? Scrap dealer. Horrific decal. You can... okay, you can trade tainted metal. That's interesting. Ooh, what's this? Kind of cool, not many more slots in my current. No terrain manipulator. Could trade 1-for-1 for this new multi-tool. I don't know though. I don't know if I like it. Same amount of slots. Not doing much for me. Okay. Well, I think that's all the brief. It's my brief galaxy exploration for today. Thanks for joining for this brief No Rob Sky segment. I gotta go soon. If anyone else wants to subscribe to the channel, you got another couple minutes. I'm gonna find out who I'm rating.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Oh, thanks, Gen X Bushy. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that, Gen X Bushy. I appreciate it a lot. Yeah, how many people can play on the server? 32 people. So eventually we are going to get more of a community thing going here. Maybe I'll be allowed to discover my own planets and star systems and stuff like that. But
you can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
oh, thanks, Comrade Social Distancing. Thanks for the gifted sub. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching the stream today, folks. Again, it was very low energy. It was very low energy, but I still feel like we got some stuff accomplished today. So thanks for watching. Get well soon, Sicko Rob. I'm gonna go Sicko mode. We can do space imperialism together. Hell yeah. That's absolutely right. Thanks for watching. I'm sure the Viking are kind of a neat take on a warrior race when you get into their story. Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to getting more into it. And I would like to be able to sit down and be able to do this for a little bit longer. I've been limited to late at night or just today, like being able to take the end of the stream to get into this. So I would like to be able to dive into it a lot more.